But like I say, these things usually go off without a hitch. Seriously, the 89th, but it did not. And, again, why they have to actually go solo and just trash our American president, it just makes us look absolutely stupid. And they did not do this to Obama. They did not do any of these things. And his policies were unbelievably wrong and not doing a single thing to help this country, or it may have helped Hollywood. Or there you go. There you go. It was good for the movies, but it didn't help the folks. And it was the folks, yes, it was the folks that voted Donald Trump into office. It's the working people. And it's those people that they save their dimes to go to the movie theater. It's not cheap anymore. It's not cheap. You don't get $5. You're lucky to find a $1 theater these days, but it's not cheap to go to a nice theater anymore. Popcorn and a drink or anything like that, it's not cheap. It's just not. It's not the same way. And for them to take the opportunity to sit there and bash, because, people watch this stuff. It's televised, goes worldwide. Folks actually watch movies in other countries and they'll, pick their captions on the screen if it's in French, etc. And they watch the stuff. And then they hear the stuff. I guess it just really makes us look like a bunch of idiots. And for them to dish this stuff out, it's just not appropriate. Understand a little satire and understand that if you're a satirist and stuff like that, and that's what you do, and you're a comedian, that's terrific. Terrific. But for these opportunities, it makes you look small. But they know they have the audience. And they know it's their opportunity to all gather together and hold their hands in solidarity, just like all of those that are all for the sanctuary cities, they're okay with a bunch of illegals, and it's okay to house the criminals. It's all right. I could see that these people that were there getting those awards are not going to be around criminals that are actually killing people, running into people in DUIs, knowing what bad hombres they are. They're not going to be wanting to hang out with them. They're not high-fiving. And notice the class of people that walk in there, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, they're fine if they landscape their lawns, manicure them and look pretty, or pick their nice vegetables. They're fine with that. Well, what are they actually doing for the communities themselves? See, a lot of this stuff is just political. That's all it is. It's political. And it's to make Donald Trump look poor, like he's a failure from the very beginning and the very start. They've already began trying to put money up, get money up for 4 years from now. And they're doing the same thing that the media is, and they're having a field day propagating the garbage on the television. George W., by the way. You haven't heard from him in a while. Well, he was weighing in. They were hoping to get a little bit more meat from Bush during an interview of NBC's Today Show to promote a new book for military portraits, and it addressed a range of President Trump controversies, specifically when he was asked about the executive orders to temporarily restrict travel from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. See how they coined that, Muslim country? Well, they are. But how about terrorists that come from these, sorry, but it's not Jews. Sorry, it's not Christians. Sorry, it's not Satanists. I mean, pick your branch. I know I've gone too far with the Satanists, but hear what I'm saying. Yes, it happens to be a predominantly Muslim country. Forget about the Christians that are being killed. We're worshiping. There's no freedom there. I guess that's what they want, or we're going to get. And that's Christians, believe me, under fire, and Jews. But they don't mention these particular things, still propagating this crap on the Today Show. This is what they're doing. He says, I'm here for an immigration policy that's welcoming and upholds the law, Bush said. I am for an immigration policy that's welcoming and it upholds the law. If you don't uphold the law, you can't be too welcoming when you have idiots on the street that are breaking the law. You have to enforce the law. Just like a nation that doesn't have borders, you don't have a country. Just like a nation that doesn't have laws, you don't have much of a country either. President Bush.
I think you have to take the man for his word that he wants to unify the country, and we'll see whether he's able to do so. It's hard to unify the country, though, with the news media being so split up.
Don't you think? Let's hear that one more time.
I think you have to take the man for his word that he wants to unify the country, and we'll see whether he's able to do so. It's hard to unify the country, though, with the news media being so split up.
It is pretty difficult. It's hard for Hollywood because they put all sorts of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, millions, into the DNC, and it made no difference at all, did it? But they still don't get it. That's the problem. And by the way, the last I checked, when you watch a movie, it's not reality. Oh, you're redoing something that happened. Maybe it's based on a true story. They're the best movies. But largely speaking, they're based on what? Fiction or nonfiction? You have fictional characters and these made-up holograms and holographs and characters and things like that. It's not reality. A lot of these people seriously need a reality check. And unfortunately, for too many San Bernardinos and Boston Marathons and Orlandos, I was just actually near that Pulse nightclub, which is actually more like a shrine now. It actually is not too far from Arnold Palmer Hospital, which is a great hospital if you need any work done, and they have a great children's hospital. It's like top hospital in Orlando. So it's the only place you should ever go if you need something done. But it brought these realities back to me, thinking about, what had taken place. And if we are not on guard, how many more of these do we have to have? Now, not all of them have these tendencies. I think everybody that works in the Bush administration believes that. Problem is, we had an administration for 8 years believing that everybody meant America no harm. Even if they were breaking the law, just let them get away with it. What does that show us to be? We're a nation that doesn't enforce laws? Because we love immigrants and people from all other places, we're not going to prosecute? We're just going to allow you to get away with it? How is that fair? I contrast that with white privilege. People touting that. That's the left. Listen, I can't help that I was born white. That's my skin color. And I'm not embarrassed to be the color that I am. I'm sorry that my forefathers before me did some of the things that they did, but I didn't do those things. I've lived a good life. I treat people with respect and dignity. And I don't walk around with my head up thinking I'm better than anybody else. And thank God, a large portion of America feels that way. A large portion of America does. They're always going to have people that are haters. And sad to say that that's just the reality, such is the case of dozens of headstones toppled at the Philadelphia Jewish cemetery. More than 100 headstones. I'm not even kidding, in the cemetery. Who would do something like this? But they've been damaged at a Jewish cemetery in Philadelphia, according to authorities this past Sunday. This is unbelievable. Aaron Malvin, he discovered this damage on Sunday morning when he arrived at Mount Carmel Cemetery to visit his father's grave. Police said that they received a call from a man that 3 of his relatives' headstones had been knocked over and damaged. Cemetery was inspected, and approximately 100 additional headstones were found to be knocked over. Apparently, sometime after dark on Saturday, a police spokesman said in a statement, criminal mischief, institutional vandalism investigation will be conducted by the police Northeast Detectives Division. Who would do something like this? That's certainly criminal and probably a hate crime. For anybody that knows what the Jewish people went through, and listen, I'm not saying that all Jews are perfect just like any other race, but if you've ever been to the Holocaust Museum, if you have not been, you should be. For anybody to know fully the brevity of what happened there, to do something like that, I don't know if it was a couple of punk kids, but that 100 or more toppled over. I mean, I don't know how more disrespectful that you could possibly be visiting a cemetery and have somebody do something like that to somebody's grave. It's got to break your heart all over again. It's disrespect of, you can't get any worse than that, can you? The police and the Anti-Defamation League are due to support this whole deal and the families that have been affected, and offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest or conviction of those responsible. A local Fraternal Order of Police Lodge also is offering, I see, a reward of $3,000. And this was compiled with the Associated Press this morning, and that's good news. Maybe we have to start having video cameras, don't you think, in cemeteries now? Keeping an eye on the tombstones of those resting in peace. Toppling over. I mean, it's damage. I mean, these are, a lot of them are just old. And when they've done this, a lot of them cracked and going to have to be replaced. It's just, again, it's very sad that we have these types of people in our country, but we do. We have some bad apples and some bad ideas, and I guess from the very beginning, it is. And, we are all entitled, I suppose, to our opinions. And I can go ahead and I can be a pundit, and I can have commentary. But to me, when it's all said and done, there is evil in our world, and there's a force for good. And we have to decide each day where we stand in that equation. That Muslim lady, she was quoted as saying that Franklin Graham was spewing hate. Spewing hate. To say that ultimately Islam did not measure up to Western culture. Well, ma'am, as I've read the Quran and I've asked questions and I've learned through the years, it really isn't. If you follow Christianity or Judaism, or let's get a little bit more extreme, the Amish, if you follow your religion to a T, you're going to find out that a lot of things just don't measure up. They don't jive with the culture. For Christianity, it's a culture war because you're at odds with moral and ethical things on a daily basis, and it's all religions. It's not the easiest thing, especially when there's a reprimand for certain sins. What is one to do? What is one to do when one is found in adultery? Some religions actually stone you. They'll kill you. What if you're found in homosexuality? They'll actually kill you. Well, thank goodness. Thank goodness. We live in America. I want free and I want fair. And I wish more people would have a little bit more love in their hearts. But it is a heart condition, as Dr. Billy Graham said for the longest time, for all of humanity. It is a heart condition. Where the heart is, so will there be? Will there be? Where there be in eternity? Whatever. You'll be judged